Hi everyone, this is Shantini from Edureka, and today we will see how load testing is performed using JMeter. So in my last video about JMeter tutorial, we have talked about what is JMeter and how to install JMeter testing tool and how it all works. So today we will see some additional elements inside JMeter. We will also see how you can perform the testing in the non-GUI method. We will also create reports in the dashboard. So let's get started. So let's have a look at today's agenda. So first we will see what is JMeter, and then we will see what is load testing, and also we will have a look at some of the advantages of JMeter that makes it the most preferable testing tool. Next up we will have a look at some of the elements of JMeter. And finally we will have a look at how to use the dashboard and also the non-GUI method. Finally, I will show you how the load testing is performed using the JMeter testing tool in the non-GUI method, and also I'll be creating a report in the dashboard. So let's get started. Now, software products demand excellent quality all the time. Now, in order to ensure delivery of a quality product, engineers involved in testing the product normally adopt various testing approaches. Now, usually we tend to follow the trends in testing and forget to pay importance to verifying whether the product meets expected or required performance. Unfortunately, we figure out this pitfall post delivery of the product. Nowadays, performance is an inevitable factor, especially for web and mobile applications, as the user strength is very huge for each application. Now, even if it is not to be expected all the time. Now, in order to cope up with such situations of load, we need a handy tool, and that's exactly where Apache JMeter comes into play. So, what is this JMeter? It is basically a Java open source software that is used as a load testing tool for analyzing and measuring the performance of a variety of services. Now, moving on, what is load testing? So basically, load testing is a kind of performance testing which determines a system's performance under real-life load conditions. Now, this testing helps determine how the application behaves when multiple users access it simultaneously. Now, this testing usually identifies the maximum operating capacity of an application. It determines whether the current infrastructure is sufficient to run the application, sustainability of application with respect to peak user load, and also the number of concurrent users that an application can support, and scalability to allow more users to access it. Now, there are various tools that are available in order to perform this testing. So, load testing is significant in real time, particularly from a point of view of customer satisfaction. Now, there are several performance testing tools available, such as the Apache JMeter, LoadRunner, WebLoad, LoadUI, NeoLoad, and WebLoad. But JMeter is one of the most preferred tools for testing. So let's have a look at some of the advantages of JMeter that makes it the most preferable one. First of all, it is an open source and also built-in Java platform. It is highly extensible and platform independent. JMeter is also very user-friendly. Now, JMeter has a comprehensive GUI which helps to create test plan and configure the elements. Now, adding elements is easy on JMeter. Just right-click on the tree scenario and add what you need to do. Next up is the support. Now, basically, it is designed for performance testing, but also supports other functional tests such as the stress testing, distributed testing, web service testing, etc. by creating test plans. It also provides support for protocols such as the HTTP, JDBC, and FTP. Next up is the comprehensive documentation. Now, this is one of the most important things to be highlighted. Now, because of its robust documentation, user can have a clear idea on each and every step, starting from scratch, including installation and configuration of the test settings and generating the final report. Next up is the recording. Now, JMeter allows user to record the HTTP or the HTTPS to create test plan using recording facility. We use the proxy server that allows JMeter to watch and record your actions while you browse your web application with your normal browser. Finally, there's this reporting. Now, JMeter supports dashboard report generation. A host of reports are generated through JMeter, which helps the user to understand performance test execution results. And in today's session, I will teach you how to generate a report in the dashboard. Now, in the previous JMeter tutorial, I have taught you how to install JMeter and I have also showed you how it actually looks like. I've also discussed about some of the important elements of JMeter. Here I have added another important element in the JMeter. So let's revise about all these elements again. First of all, we have the thread group. Now, the thread group is a collection of threads. Each thread represents one user using the application under test. Basically, each thread simulates one real user request to the server. The controls for a thread group allow you to set the number of threads for each group. The next element is the samplers. Now, as we know already that JMeter supports testing HTTP, FTP, JDBC, and many other protocols. We also know that thread groups simulate user requests to the server. But how does a thread group know which type of request it needs to make? The answer is samplers. Now, the user request could be FTP, HTTP, JDBC, etc. We have also discussed about all of these requests. Next up is the listeners. Now, listeners shows the results of the test execution. They can show results in a different format such as a tree, table, graph, or log file. Then we have the configuration elements which set up defaults and variables for later use by samplers. Now here is another added element of JMeter for the load testing. So assertion in JMeter is used to validate response of the request that you have sent to the server. Now assertion is a process where you verify expected result with the actual result of the request at runtime. Now if you need to apply assertion on a particular sampler, then add it as a child of that sampler. You can view assertion results by adding assertion listener to the thread group. Failed assertions will be displayed in other listeners as well. So here we will be using the response assertion. So response assertion can be used to add and compare pattern strings against one or many values of server response. So here you can verify the response by using the response assertion. Now these were the elements that we will be using in our load testing. Next up, I'll tell you how to generate a report on a dashboard. So this is exactly how a dashboard looks like and also the report generated here. Now JMeter supports dashboard report generation to get graphs and statistics from a test plan. The dashboard generator is a modular extension of JMeter. Its default behavior is to read and process samples from CSV files to generate HTML files containing graph views. It can generate the report at end of a load test or on demand. So in my previous JMeter tutorial, I have already taught you how to install JMeter and also how the test plan works. So here I'll be doing the testing in the non-GUI method. So first of all, I'll show you again how to create a test plan and then we will be running that particular test plan in our command prompt. In the previous one, we have done it in the JMeter itself. Here we will be using a non-GUI method. So let's see how this works. So this is our Apache JMeter tool and we have a test plan here. So first of all, I'll rename the test plan to Edureka and then I'll create a thread group. Now inside the thread group, I'll put some number of threads and also increase the loop count. So here I have added the number of threads or the users as 20 and have increased the loop count to 5. Now I'll add another sampler that is the HTTP request. So let's open our Edureka blog website. So here we go to the edureka.co/blog. So this is the website for all the Edureka blogs. So this is our server on which we are performing the testing. So we'll copy the URL and put it on the IP address. Now as you know that we are not supposed to put the HTTPS, so we will remove this from here. And also the path will be added in the path section. So we'll copy it from here and put it in the path section. Next up, I'll create another HTTP request. Now inside our Edureka blog website, we have different sections such as the all, videos, interview questions, and cheat sheet. So these are the different paths that lead to different sections inside the website. So I've added one path that goes to all the blogs. Next up, I'll just add another HTTP request where I'll put the website as edureka.co/blog and the path I'll set to the videos. So I will copy the path from /videos and put it in the path section and save it as videos. I'm also saving the first one as all pages. Next up, I'll add another HTTP request, and here I'll add the path to all the cheat sheets. So here I'll add the server as edureka.co/blog. So I'll add the path as the interview questions. I'll also change the name of this HTTP request to interview questions. So once we have added all the HTTP requests, we will save this as our edureka.jmx file. So I'm saving it inside my load test folder. So I'll rename it as edureka.jmx, and I'm saving it inside the load test folder. Now, in order to check if the test is running properly, let's add a listener where we show the result in the tree format. So once I've created this view results tree, and if I run this test, you can see that all the tests are running perfectly and the status is okay for all of these pages. So you can see that the test is running completely fine. So now let's remove this and run this test in the non-GUI mode. And for that, we have to clear this view results tree, and also we have to go to the command prompt and check how we can run this test in the non-GUI mode. So now that our test plan is ready, we will be shifting to our command prompt. Now inside command prompt, the first thing that you need to do is specify the path. So first you have to go inside the JMeter bin. Now this is the path that takes me inside my JMeter and the bin folder. So now I'm inside my JMeter bin folder, and here I'll be running the command line for performing the test. Now the command for performing the load testing is JMeter-n-t. Now what is this -n? The -n represents the non-GUI mode, and the -t is used in order to specify the location for your test script. So once we have specified the location for our test script, then we have -l. Now this -l is used to specify the test location for our output result. Now the -l is used for the location of the result file. Now here we have the -n for the non-GUI, -t for location for JMeter test script, and the L for the location of the result file. So now here we have to specify the location for both. So inside the load test folder, I have my edureka.jmx. So I have to copy this path and specify it after -t. That is, specify the test script location. So here I have specified the test script location, and the name of the file would be edureka.jmx. Now inside my load test, I have created a .csv file, which I'll name it as loadtest.csv. Now this loadtest.csv file will hold all my test results. So now I have to specify the location for my result file, which is the loadtest.csv file. So after -l, I'll be specifying the location for my result file. So now this is the command for running the test in a non-GUI format, where I'll be using the test script file and also the result file location. So now once we run this command line, we can see that the tree has been successfully created and the test has started. So now this will take some time and the process will continue because we have used 20 users, and also the loop count will go on for 5 times. Now once you see end of run, it means that the test is completed. Now when we go back to our load test folder and open our loadtest.csv file, so now here you can see that the entire test result has been generated inside our loadtest.csv. So it shows that the test has been performed successfully and it's all okay. So it has been completed successfully and there has been no error generated either. So now this is exactly how you perform your testing in the non-GUI method. So we have just used our command prompt in order to run the test finally, and also we have got the entire result output in the .csv file. Now in order to have a better understanding of the output of your test, you would need a dashboard. Now in dashboard, we will be creating different sorts of graphs that will help you understand the performance of your website even better. So now let's move on and see how we can generate a report on our dashboard. Now in order to generate a report in our dashboard, we follow the same procedure. We go to the JMeter, create a test plan. Here I'll be using the same test plan where I have used the Edureka blog website and also all the 3 HTTP requests that I've created for our all pages, videos, and interview questions separately. Now these were some of the elements that we had already added. Now for the dashboard, we will be adding another new element known as the assertion. Now basically it will help us to add and compare the pattern strings against one or many values of server response. Now, in order to run the test and generate the report on the dashboard, the command line is almost similar with two more added elements here. So initially we had JMeter -n-t and -l. Now here we will be adding two more extra things, that is the -e and the -o. Now the -o is used for the output file. Now for the output file, we will go back to our load test folder and create another folder. Suppose I'm naming the folder as HTML report. Now this will give us my dashboard report. So I'm creating this output folder here. Now we have to specify this path after the -o. Now the command remains the same, where we have JMeter -n for the non-GUI, then we have -t for our test script location, which is our edureka.jmx, and then we have the -l for our .csv file, and then we have -e-o, and we specify the location for our HTML report. So this is the location to our HTML report. Now once we run this command, we can see that again we are successfully creating the tree and then starting the test. Now this will also take some time for the report to get generated. Now once we run this command line, we will also get the CSV file where the report is generated in the tree format, and also we will have a separate dashboard created where we will have the entire output generated in the form of graphs. Now the JMeter supports the dashboard report generation to get the graphs and statistics from a test plan. So now that the test is done successfully, once we go back to our load test folder and we open our .csv file, we can see that the report has been generated here. Now moving on, if we go back to the folder and open our HTML report folder, we can see that there is an index.html created. Now this is the dashboard that has been generated. So in this dashboard, we have our entire report of our test generated in the form of graphs and statistics. So you can see that we have the output of our test plan, which shows that it was all okay because there was no error inside our test plan. We have specified the paths correctly, and thus the test plan has occurred successfully. Now the dashboard generator is a modular extension of the JMeter. Its default behavior is to read and process samples from CSV files to generate HTML files containing the graph views. So here you can see the graph that shows 100% okay because there has been no error in our testing. We also have a statistics table providing one table is summary of all metrics per transaction. And then we have the error table providing a summary of all errors and their proportion in the total request. Here we do not have any particular error. Now, not just that, we also have zoomable chart where you can check or uncheck every transaction to show or hide it for, like the response times over time, where it includes the transaction controller sample results. We also have the response times percentile over time, which shows the successful responses only. Then we have the active threads over time, bytes throughput over time, which ignores transaction controller sample results. Then we have latencies over time, connect time over time, which includes the transaction controller sample results. Then we have the hits per second, response codes per second, and transactions per second. We also have the latency versus request per second and response time over. So we have all these different forms of charts available in our dashboard that will give you a detailed report about the test that has been performed on your website. This actually gives you a visual satisfaction of whatever test you have performed, and it's always easy to understand with the help of these graphs and statistics, and you get to easily understand how well your website have been performing. Not just that, we also have custom graphs here, which will let you have the graphs the way you want it to according to the report that has been generated. So this is exactly how Apache JMeter helps you in performing load testing on any such website. So this was the non-GUI method of load testing with the help of Apache JMeter. And also we have seen how we can have a better version of outputs generated in the form of a report in the dashboard. Here we have graphs and statistics that will easily help you know about what kind of status you are getting after the test has been completed. It completely shows you if there is any error or if the status is completely okay. Now, in case there is any error, there will be false in place of true, and also you will get to see a red and green graph. Wherever there is an error, it will show you something like this, where you'll also get to see the error in the test. So now this was all about performing load testing using the Apache JMeter tool. And you can refer to the JMeter tutorial that I have explained previously, where I have given the detailed steps about how to install JMeter. Also, I have given details about all the elements involved in order to run the test plan. And in my previous JMeter tutorial, I have also taught how to use the user interface in order to perform any testing. So you can always refer to that video and learn about the installation process too. And I hope this video has helped you understand how to perform the non-GUI testing and also how to generate your reports. So this was all about today's session. Do let us know about your opinion in the comment section below. Till then, thank you and happy learning.
I hope you have enjoyed listening to this video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries, and we will reply them at the earliest. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to Edureka channel to learn more. Happy learning!